be the wild tulip or rose and do it your own way. Embrace the inner beauty that you have and bravely show up with courageous curiosity and do it your own
Ooh,
way. Be you and be true.
be you and be true. Do it your own way. I love that. That's amazing. Thank you, Tina. Welcome to the Life Changes Channel podcast. Tina, I am so glad that you're able to join us today. It was a lot of fun having you on the Shift Happens show with Carrie and I. And we want to dig in a little bit more about the communication that you help teach and guide and inspire people to be able to experience in their lives. So welcome. Let's hear you describe who you are and what you do and why that is so fun and intriguing for you.
Thank you, Tina. It's a pleasure to be in your energetic field again and to have this conversation. I'm very honored to be here. I'm Tina B, and I'm an intuitive communication coach, and I love to protect audiences from boring speakers and speeches. How do I do that, maybe? I draw out the yummy that's inside of a person where I am able to see and witness their magic that they have as a communicator, as a leader, that they then I guide them to be able to manifest beautiful, confident, clear messages on any stage, whether it's a TED stage, in a boardroom, in a networking event for their businesses and beyond. And so I do that through playful ways of being. Like I have improvisation training, 5 levels of that, as well as I do things as a former Disney cast member with flair and with a rich background of teaching, public speaking, theater, as well as just psychology. I think it's a beautiful alchemy, if you will, of things that I draw together to make it a spiritual experience in the mindset, message, and mechanics.
Ooh, that's juicy. There's so much to unpack here. I have a feeling that when you meet people, you are able to pull things from them that they don't even recognize or have realized are there. Would you say that that's common?
That's very common. In fact, it can be extraordinarily uncomfortable for people. And I have to really keep myself in check, whether it's because authenticity is extraordinarily important to me. I very deeply am a heart-centered, integrous, generous individual. And I've really been on this journey of the way to integrity. And I can see their truth and love them no matter what. And that can be piercing in a beautiful way that just they want more and more and more. Sort of like when I had a gathering with a wide range of entrepreneurs in Chicago a week ago, and how I got lots and lots of questions because they were just like the curiosity was building, 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 and amplified. And I've also had experiences where it's like, quickly they shuffle off because they're like, "Ooh, you see something that I don't want to really reveal, talk about, whatever." And so I work with that, right? Because I do I really listen and I really look. And there's this triangle in improvisation that Robert Poynton talks about. It's the yes and triangle. And it's about this idea of letting go, using everything, and then you notice more. And I think that that's if we can let go of past and expectation and things that can bind us and bound us into, potentially like biases, if you will, and lean into what's happening in that moment, notice everything and be with it, then we can actually have a rich conversation and support that person and move things forward.
It's a vulnerable spot to be in when someone sees you. We're quite accustomed to being under the radar and people don't really see and hear us and they have assumptions and we're willing to just allow those. But when somebody really locks in and sees you, it feels very vulnerable. And it's an invitation to that authenticity that maybe you've even been denying yourself. So
Mm.
part of that journey, so I'm curious now if you're interested in sharing some of your journey that has led you through some really tough and vulnerable places to your to the level of authenticity that we see you now today.
Yeah, so I just had finished and I'm going through it again on Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness. I don't know if you've read that, but I highly recommend it. And I've always felt like, and I recently, a few years ago at a women's leadership conference, I had a woman who looked at me and she says, "You're kind of a weird pink, cool unicorn, aren't you?" And that was the moment where I was like, yes, she sees me. And I gobbled it up. I'm like, tell me more. Like, what is that about me that you see? And when I read this book, Braving the Wilderness, I feel like I have been in a wilderness most of my life because I've always beat to my own drummer. I've always like I loved the Muppets so much because they're playful and purposeful with what they do and how they be. And I was that way. I mean, just this joyful abundance of energy and burst of creativity. And yet I got shushed a lot. And it was so painful. Starting when I was very, very little and things have been revealed, I think the inciting incident for me, there were a couple, but one big one was, vulnerability and publishing a book and getting so burnt out because I was burning the candle at multiple ends, trying to be a business owner, a mother, all the things, and writing this book for a publisher and having rigorous deadlines and snapping at my beloved young son for no reason. That revealed to me that that's some childhood trauma and wounds that I need to heal. He was mirroring to me what I needed to work on. It wasn't him. I mean, the kid was making me a beautiful espresso with an espresso maker he got me for Christmas, and I was snapping at him for using the wrong cup. Well, what I figured out was he was distracted, not on purpose. He's a kid, and picked a different cup, not on purpose to upset me, but I didn't feel heard. And it was my little young child. So that propelled a journey into, okay, this hurt and this energy and this plank of anger needs extracted out of me. And so I don't know how deep you want to go here, but there's been a lot. And that this path has been something else is the disconnection and the performing that I was doing to make others be comfortable and not myself. I was going along to getting along. And when I realized I loved everybody more than myself, and I married a man who adored me, loved me, and I'd never felt that kind love before. I'd been used and abused by multiple men in my life, in sexual assaults, in religious traumas, all of that. And it recently has come, aware to me that he was my teacher, my child, and my spouse. They were my teachers. How can they love me more than I love me? And so I went on this beautiful healing journey, if you will, of wide ranges of modalities from, sound healing, tantric healing, workshops on emotional intelligence that put stuff in my face, consuming books upon books from Martha Beck to Brene Brown to Elizabeth Gilbert and beyond, like all these amazing spiritual leaders and teachers, and Pema Chodron, of how do I be an unconditionally confident, loving human to myself and to others, right? And so, with that, long story short, I came out as a lesbian in August of 2024, August 13th. Never will forget the day. And my spouse of 21 years lovingly accepted me and saying, I will not dim your sparkle anymore, and holding space for that. Same with my child. And then moving out from a farm of 20 years that I lived on to this downtown city of Omaha on my own by myself. And in the process of all that, my significant other co-parent partner is diagnosed with stage 4 follicular lymphoma, and I'm navigating losing friends, losing some family members, and worried that I did this to my spouse, that I broke his heart because it literally, he nearly died a couple times, and they showed on scans that he had cancer around the heart. And that took my breath away. And the beautiful thing of all of this as I'm going through it, and the only way is through. It's no more extrinsic. It's me being the practitioner to myself. Like I can keep searching, searching, grabbing, searching extrinsically, but it's within me, the creator. The guides are around me, healing and loving on me. And had recently, this last week, a clear PET scan. And we have come to the conclusion, his blood work beautiful, everything. He's healing because I'm healing.
What an incredible gift for your family.
Yeah. And thank you for asking. It's a lot. And I tried to, you know, because there's so much like being open to, I mean, you're listening, you're with me, and you're asking, and me being okay with how much detail do I give, right? Because there's just so much like the messaging, the awareness, and the love. Like just recently, even today, I had a download about, oh my gosh, it was the reason why I married John was so that he could teach me to love myself as much as he loved me. Thank you. Now I can be an open, like big, playful, heart-centered, amazing powerhouse lesbian woman who's rocking it out as a visionary rebel that I am to guide others with love that they have it inside themselves too, whatever that may look like, sound like, feel like.
Thank you, Tina, for sharing that piece of your story. Like that, it's just, it's mind blowing what you have done with the growth and the healing. I know you condensed it, but it's only been a matter of months since you've made some more very significant changes. Also, the roller coaster ride of health challenges in your family on top of that. And to see how that work that you've put in has led, I believe, to a quicker place of this realization now of the gifts that you received from those experiences. And it's like that God's eye view they talk about, or, like let's step back. And when you watch the plot of a movie unfolding as an observer, you're privy to more of those details and you can maybe see some of the lessons and see some of the paths that people are on that is a necessary part of their journey. And for you to already be in a place where you're recognizing those things, I think is a real testament and an encouragement to people to be inspired to do the work, do the healing. It's not always easy, but it will help to create a far better outcome for themselves, but also to inspire others. Now, tell us how this journey you've been on is part of the work that you do, and explain to us intuitive communication.
Yeah. Well, I think about like a big part of this, because I've been shifting out of confusion to clarity, not just about like a lot of it was with my business because I'm like, am I really showing up really as the me that I am? Because I'm formally trained as an academic in communication studies. I was a professor at a private university for 10 years and created a communication center and all of that. And so I had this confusion and been praying for clarity and creativity and all of that. And so I think a big alignment of is the more you come into yourself, the more you get vastly clear on how you show up as the leader speaker that you are. And for me, the reveal has become in the heal. Like I'm able to reveal more of what I do, be, and am when I heal. Journaling and dancing and movement and crying and moving it out. And so, to answer your question, as I've been working through what exactly is intuitive communication coaching, because it does pierce the listening of audience members when they hear
Mhm.
intuitive. They hear communication coaching, they've heard of communication consulting, but they're like, what does that exactly mean? Well, I really believe in what you have inside, especially is body centered, decision making, way of being, and we ignore that. And what I have found is when I work with my clients, I'm able to see what they need and desire is safety. Why do we fear public speaking? Why do we fear showing up? Why do we fear it's highly vulnerable? It's highly visible. It's all of those things. And if we can't feel safe, there's a backdrop of that lack of safety. Something was said or done probably in your childhood, whether it was an adult in your life, in your family, in school, a coach, whatever. And so the intuitive piece is for me to help, draw out of them to come back to trusting themselves, to make those crucial decisions that make impacts, whether they are a leader as a CEO facilitating performance reviews to their, team members
Yeah.
and knowing the right things to say, or sharing their nonprofit story as an executive director and saying it clearly and passionately to draw in funding, or if they're simply like, hey, I am a TEDx speaker and I have an idea that's worth spreading and I want to land on people's hearts. How do I do that? There's all these different kinds of ways, or even changing policies in government. I've had different people change policies through storytelling and beyond. So and to answer your question is it's like an alchemy, right? Of competence, charisma, and compassion.
Mm.
And it's beautiful little triangle because competency, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to know how to structure. You have to know the knowingness and keeping your audience in the know in a way that they can follow you. You are the verbal roadmap. So that's the competence piece. The charisma is that yumminess, right? Of the attraction, the magnetism, the delivery of using your voice and body in a way that makes sense. And then the compassion is, hey, I need to love on myself and love on the other. And then guess what? People will listen to me and feel me and my vibe. And then I'll make those impacts that I desire.
And a lasting impression with people,
Yes.
because how you leave them feeling is how they remember you, and it's inspiring for them to witness, especially that compassion to yourself as well. And sometimes that's a boundary that they encounter, a healthy boundary that you have, and they may not even like it at first. And then they're like, wait a minute, I could be doing more of that for myself. It's very reasonable. And I think that's just incredible. How do people get in touch with you, Tina, and what have you got for offerings for them to work with you?
Yeah. And I love that you brought up boundaries. I call them love gates, right? It's a love gate
Ah,
to yourself and to others because it's out of love and we need to express it because people don't know what they don't know. If they don't know your boundaries, they're going to step right through them. They're going to go
hmm.
right through the gate like a goat does on the farm, right? They're very cunningly creative and clever. So to answer your question with what is available, I have tinabakehouse.com is my website. And on that website, I offer my book, Discovering Our Magnetic Speaker Within. It's a lovely, rich book on mindset, message, and mechanics. I interviewed 50 people. It's a guide, it has stories and strategies and walks you through that process to be your magnetic communicator leader that you are. It also offers, I facilitate team building workshops for corporations, organizations, teams in the field of temperament and understanding ourselves, to yes and leadership with improv, to storytelling and communication styles and beyond, as well as keynotes. And then finally, I love, 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 and delight in working one on one with individuals with my 6-month series, which is the Magnetic Leader Speaker Blueprint series. And it's customized to you. So, what that is that you meet with me. We co create your vision as the leader speaker, we proclaim it and we create it. And I create yummy lessons. You get handouts and all the stuff to land maybe that TED talk, that signature talk, whatever that communication goal is, and then draw that out of you to be more self aware, create a message that matters, and use those mechanics with your voice and body as the instrument that it is.
Whew. And anybody who's watching the video, especially, I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and watch the interview that I'm having here today with Tina, because she's a prime example of everything that she's talking about. So she exemplifies it, and it gives you an example of where you could go with your work with her. If you could leave the audience, or let's say even the world, if you had one message that you could give to people, what would that be, Tina? I know it's kind of just threw that at you, but
This
I
is
feel like you
good.
probably have so many. It's the hard thing is picking one.
Hmm. What's coming to mind is we're in spring, and I know the last time we talked, we were talking about spring and the magnolia tree and everything. And I love tulips and how they pop open, right? And they are vibrant and delightful and what have you. And I think of the rose doing the same thing, and it's all these petals, that it's so complex and the insides are complex, and we are that as humans. And I would say, be the wild tulip or rose and do it your own way. Embrace the inner beauty that you have and bravely show up with courageous curiosity and do it your own way. Be you and be true.
Be you and be true. Do it your own way. I love that. That's amazing. Thank you, Tina. I encourage everybody to check all the links in the show notes, get in touch with Tina, ask her questions, see what she has to offer, check out her website. And thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Much love.
Much love to you, Dina.
I hope you found that conversation insightful, encouraging, and also a reminder to all of us that what we see isn't always as it appears. People are going through a lot of things in their lives, and we would want that compassion shared to us. And that is something that we can offer to others without judgment. Instead, be curious and reach out, reach in, figure out a way that you can make someone's day a little better. And it might just start with a smile. I thank you very much for spending your time with me here today, and encourage you to please subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social media, check out our events. We have lots of ways that we can help you or someone that you love. Share this with a friend if there's someone that you know could benefit from this. And hey, keep smiling that beautiful smile, because the world really does need your sunshine. It means a lot that you spend this time with us and meet our experts and professionals who can help you through whatever life changes you're facing. Please refer to our terms of service available on our website, lifechangesmag.com. The link is in the show notes. Our disclaimer: Divorce Magazine Canada, Life Changes Magazine and channel, and divorce resource groups are intended to educate and provide quality, credible resource information. The contents should not be used as factual until consultation with the appropriate professionals for any guidance. Divorce Magazine Canada, Life Changes Magazine, and Life Changes channel, as well as the divorce resource groups, do not constitute endorsements for, nor liability for any claims made in the presenting of this information.